Hi everyone, Lisa Haven here. And there is a problem that has been long forgotten, that should not be forgotten. A problem that impacts not only us here in America, but everyone on the globe. A problem that needs a resolution. A problem that both the left and the right agree exists. A problem that we cannot continue to ignore. The life and the very bloodline of humanity depends on it. Well, what I have to show you in this report today is bombshell. It's something you might have heard before, but something that continual reports are going ignored, and they shouldn't. Now, at the very end of this report, I have a bombshell to drop, and you're going to want to stick around for that because you're going to find out the water crisis and who is, buying up the water. With that, I have lots of reports that I want to show you today, specifically in regards to that issue. But before I delve into that, I want to say this. I don't believe in global warming, global cooling, climate change. It's something that the government is using to plan and push an agenda and certain alternatives. It's a sham. However, I do believe that we do face a water crisis. Pollution adds to part of that as well, obviously. Well, let's get into some of those reports. The first report I want to show you, and while I don't agree with everything this organization does, I wanted to show you from WWF, the Worldwide Fund for Nature organization. Now, they put out a report this year in March 2017 titled Multinational Corporations and Water Stewardship. Now, in this report, they show population growth and how it can lead to 50% surge in water demands by 2050. Now, this report also goes to detail on page 16, where it shows the finance and it shows how banks and mega banks all across America and even globally are planning for a water crisis. You can see Citibank, Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, Merrill Lynch, Morgan Stanley, just to name a few of the top banks that have water listed as the new oil. Check out this next report, and this is from JP Morgan Chase, Watching Water, and this was put out in March 2008, and it's a guide to evaluating corporate risks in a thirsty world. Now, you might be asking, what do megabanks have to do with water? If they're a banking system, why are they so interested in the water crisis? Well, JP Morgan isn't the only one. Here's another report put out by Goldman Sachs. This one, May 8th of 2013. Sustainable Growth, taking a deep dive into water, where they detail that water could be a constraint on growth. Growing energy demands drives water use, and more of water in the middle class, and some of the risks with water. Here yet again, we find another banker targeting the water supply. Check out another report. This one was November 2011 by Morgan Stanley Smith Barney. Peak Water, it's titled, The Preeminent 21st Century Commodity Story. Now, this details how water is just like oil, and water is the new oil. Here's another report, and this one's put out by the Standard Chartered, and this is a British multinational banking and financial service company headquartered in London. This is titled, World Water Day Standard Chartered Commits to Reducing Its Carbon Footprint. But in here, they also detail the importance of water. But that's not all. Here's yet another banker. This one was put out in 2011. This is Citibank. Top economist says the water market will soon eclipse oil. Now, this report details how water will be more valuable yet again than oil. And finally, the last thing I want to show you here is from globalresearch.ca. Now, this was put out originally in 2012 and back again in 2016, but I think this should not be forgotten. And it's titled, The New Water Barons, Wall Street Mega Banks Are Buying Up the World's Waters. Now, why would JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley, Citibank, and Standard Chartered and multiple others be buying up water? Here's the thing. They're making it illegal in some states and cities to make it illegal to collect rainwater. Yet we have multimillionaire bankers buying up our water supply, and they're still doing it today. This report, while it is old and a bit of a flashback, we cannot leave it ignored. They are buying up the water while refusing you to do things that you should be allowed to do on your own property. What harm is it to collect rainwater? That's a resolution to our problem. That's a fix to the water crisis. So why are some city and states making this an issue that you cannot collect water? Good question. And so why put our water in the hands of the globalists, in the hands of the New World Order bankers, in the hands of those pulling strings from behind the scenes? Why allow that? I think there's an agenda going on here. Not only are they buying up our water, but they have hybrid seed banks, seeds that can reproduce other seeds. They have food that they've stocked up. If you talk to any American survival or food storage, I know foodforliberty.com/Haven is one, and I have a direct contact with them. They will tell you that multimillionaires are buying more food for preparation than the average person. This is why I think it's very important for us. If we see what the elite are doing and those pulling the strings, well, then we can look to the future and know what's going on. Now, I'm not saying there's going to be water wars in the future. And I'm not saying there is such a thing as global warming, because there isn't. There's a lie. That is a straight up lie. However, the water crisis is something I believe that, if we can start allowing things like, we have our rain barrels on our property. Why is it, again, that these are being limited? Why are they not being allowed in some cities and states? Obviously, there's an agenda there. And I think the agenda lies in the fact that they want control, absolute control. Because look, he who controls the food and he who controls the water controls the world. It's that simple. I don't know about you, but this is a problem we cannot forget. And we need to bring up on a yearly basis so we don't forget the necessities of what's really going on. Now, I'm going to leave all those documents in the description box below so you can check those out and read them for yourselves. I've skimmed through some of those, so I encourage you to do the same and to share this information. I try to bring documented, hard, solid proof whenever I can. Anyhow, if you're not prepared with food storage, now is the time to do so. Foodforliberty.com/Haven has all your food storage needs. But more importantly, make sure you have a water source. Back up some of your water supply. Get a well if you can. Take precautions to make sure you're fighting legislation in your local areas against a government who wants to stop things such as rain systems on your property or collecting rainwater on your property. Things that the average prepper and the average person should be allowed to do. Anyhow, wanted to bring you the latest on all of that. If you like what you heard, please hit that subscribe button on my channel. I also have a Patreon account that you can donate to there as well. I'll leave a link for that below. Well, thanks again for tuning in. This is Lisa Haven, signing out.